The Type 94 tankette, also going by 94 Type Light Armoured Car. This was a tankette used by the Japanese Empire, having 823 produced from 1933 to 1937. With its name meaning special tractor, it lived up to its name, being primarily used as ammunition tractors and general infantry support. But it was also effective against the Chinese National Revolutionary Army, as they only had 3 tank battalions, populated mainly by British export tanks and Italian CV-33 tankettes. The Imperial Japanese Army had laid great interest in light tanks. They imported several Western light tanks, including the Renault FT, an outdated World War I tank, but they also later decided on taking a heavier design, such as the Cardin-Lloyd 6 tankette. This was a choice based on some of the issues that they had discovered with wheeled armoured cars that the army had used previously. The first attempt at making a tankette was the Type 92, a tank given to the cavalry for their operations, but infantry commanders decided it would be in a better use as an infantry support vehicle, due to its lack of potential and general lack of off-road capabilities, with this tankette only seeing service in the Battle of Harbin and Rihe with the 1st Special Tank Company of the 9th Division. I'll make a video on the Type 92 later. The design was started in 1932, with development starting in 1933, by the Tokyo Gas and Electric Industry, now known as Hino Motors. An experimental tank was ready in 1934, with its cargo abilities being only an ammunition trailer. After its testing period, it was standardized into a recon vehicle and classified as the Type 92 or Type 2594 tankette. It still carried over the ability for transporting and even had the use of being an infantry support tank. Originally, they were inspired by the British Cardin-Lloyd Mark 6B tankettes, which the IGA received in 1930. The Japanese had determined that both the Cardin-Lloyd and the French Renault UE were not of adequate size. They liked some of the features that they had though, proving the fact with tankettes these tanks were very similar to other light tanks of the time, being small, lightly armoured and fast. Welded and riveted, the hull of the Type 94 had an engine mounted towards the front of the vehicle. An air-cooled petrol design encased in danger dust, also known as asbestos, was used to stop the crew from overheating. The commander had his position in an unpowered single-man turret, who would have been a very busy man, having to command the tank, man the gun, observe the battlefield, and communicate with his allied tanks. The driver was put in a tight and cramped position right next to the engine and all its vibrations. There was a large door in the back that was used for access to the cargo compartment, which was very limited. Initially, the suspension of the tank was made out of 2 bogies on each side, suspended by bell cranks using externally placed armoured suspension springs placed horizontally. I'm not exactly sure what I just said, but there are quite a few issues with this layout, having issues with throwing its track off in a high-speed turn. To counter this, the tank had been given a upgrade of a larger eye to the wheel, which was suspended from a moving arm, which now gave it contact with the ground. However, this didn't completely solve the problem, which then led to later models having a revised suspension and a longer chassis. Doing so increased the length of the chassis to 3.35 meters. A few variants of the Type 94 made it to production, some worse than others. These included some war crime carriers, such as the Type 94 disinfecting vehicle and the Type 94 gas scattering vehicle. Both were chemical warfare vehicles, with the gas scattering vehicle spraying mustard gas or other chemical weaponry, and the latter vehicle, the disinfecting vehicle, was used to spray a, quote, bleaching powder to counteract the poison gas. There was also the Type 97 pole planter and the Type 97 cable layer, which were both used to set up communication installations when it was deemed unsafe to use personnel.